hopeless.
And the romantics.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Catie.
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 I'm Catie.
I'm fucking Catie, mate.
I'm Catie, ain't I?
I'm fucking Catie.
Emma Bufford.
Emma Bufford. Okay, hi.
She has me, Alan.
Oh, hello.
So, hello, welcome back to another episode of Will They, Won't They? This week we're talking about crazy, stupid love.
Crazy Stupid Love.
It's
2011.
crazy. And it's stupid.
And it's
Dumb.
no. Yeah, so this came out in 2011. It is I have to start off by saying that
yeah, we got to get this out of the way.
Love Steve Carell so much that it physically hurts me. Steve, if you're listening, I love you so much. Like
our side podcast is just called If You're Listening.
Literally.
And Steve Carell, if you're listening.
Steve.
Steve.
So literally so much. Like I can't even stand it. Okay. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna say that a lot.
I mean, he's such a good actor too. He's so cute.
Like here's the thing. Like it would be one thing if he was just like, wow, he's like so funny.
Yeah.
But he's also such a good actor.
It's like how I feel about Bill Hader.
Yeah, he's great too.
She says with not nearly as much enthusiasm as she speaks about Steve
Steve's
Carell.
Number one. But yeah, Bill's great too, and so underrated.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that I also need to just get this out of the way. The fact that Steve Carell never won a fucking Emmy for his role as Michael Gary Scott in The Office.
Oh no.
Is a crime against humanity, in my opinion, and I will never forgive.
Well, he lost
the Academy or whoever does.
He lost to a lot of great actors of our time, like Bazingo in Big Bang Theory.
Literally Bazingo. Literally Bazingies. Like I hate
Bazingies.
Don't even. I used to like literally. Like when he would lose the Emmy, I'd be like, no, like losing
have a full tantrum.
Anyway,
I could see that.
So I love Steve. So
Steve Carell is in this movie.
Oh yeah, by the way. Imagine he wasn't even in this movie.
We just wanted to start this episode off talking about our love for Steve Carell. He's a main character in this movie, and he's such a lovable character. I feel like he brings a piece of himself into every episode. Let's get started. Let's get into
going.
it.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's
put our nasty little raccoon paws right into the thick of it. I love raccoons.
I don't have raccoon paws.
I mean, I absolutely do. They're little.
Ew, if
nubs.
you could see this gesture. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about Crazy Stupid Love.
So it starts out, the opening scene is, so we have Julianne Moore, who is Steve Carell's wife in this movie. She is playing Emily. So Emily and Steve, who is playing Cal, are out to dinner, and they're just sitting there having a nice little dinner.
It's a little like dry, let's say.
It's dry. And like, you know, Steve just looks like a dad, and Julianne Moore looks like Julianne Moore. And they're sitting there talking about, like, what do they want to get? And he says, on the count of 3, let's say what we want to get next. 1, 2, 3. Creme brulee. Dang it. We thought we could do it. We both think we're Steve Carell. So Cal says he wants creme brulee, and Emily says she wants a divorce.
Shocking turn of events for that dinner.
Earth shattering.
I didn't know where that was going. I was like, Earth
bound.
Earth balance.
New Balance.
Oh,
that'll make sense later. Spoiler. As with every episode, there are spoilers, and this spoiler is New Balance.
Okay. So Emily says, "I would like to divorce you. You son of a bitch." Just kidding. She doesn't say that.
And she spits in his face.
Ew. So then they're like in the car together, and she's trying to talk to him and like trying to communicate with him,
It's hard because you can see, like, just in this one scene, you can see where their issues as a couple come up.
So true.
Like, it takes 45 seconds to see, like, he shuts down and doesn't want to face anything hard. And she, like, has to pick up with that by, like, just talking and talking and talking and trying to communicate. But there's such a thing as over-communicating as well.
Yep.
And not listening to what your partner is saying. And he's saying, please stop talking or I'm going to throw myself out of the car. And that's exactly what he does.
Because she won't stop. Oh, and she admits in that moment that she slept with
David
Lindhagen.
Lindhagen?
Hagen. David Lindhagen does ice cream. Ice cream.
Mint chocolate chip.
Oh my God. Like, can we
Another
stop
spoiler.
doing that today? What is wrong with us? Okay. Anyway. So she sleeps with David Lindhagen and she tells him, and then he rolls himself out of the car, and that's kind of...
It's the beginning of the end for them.
You kind of can see that he's just not capable of communicating his feelings.
Yeah, it's very sad to see. But they get home. He looks worse for wear. So as they're on their way home, we get to their house, and the babysitter is watching their kids. And she is former America's Next Top Model, Anna. Insert last name here.
Tipton.
Her name is Jessica. And she's checking in on the kids, and she checks in on Robbie, and Robbie is masturbating. And it's a really funny moment. But
he's a little 8th grader.
Yeah, he admits his undying love for her. And then Cal and Emily get home. And it's all very awkward because Emily's just trying to, like, get the babysitter out of the house and, like, act like nothing's wrong. Meanwhile, Cal is having this serious discussion with his son. He's having
a breakdown.
Yeah.
He's having a break. He's basically just like, oh, your mother wants a divorce.
And Robbie's like, what? And he's like, and I threw myself out of a moving car.
That's why I look like this. Because he has, like, dirt and stuff all over him.
So we get a little glimpse into Robbie's headspace there. I feel like he's always, like, the therapist.
Yeah, we think he's a Pisces.
We think he's a Pisces, so natural born therapist.
Very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very hopeless romantic.
Very.
Very that.
Very that.
Very that. But yeah, so he is obviously also upset to find out that his
parents are getting a divorce.
Yeah, that's traumatic in its own way. And then basically right away, Kyle's just like, I'll move out.
He volunteers that.
He's like, I'm moving out. And it's kind of like, you almost want him to, like, at least when I'm watching, I'm like, God, could do something.
Like, say
it seems
something.
Like he doesn't care that much. You can tell he does, but at the same time, like, he's not doing anything. So you're like, okay.
Move, Charlie.
But you do feel bad for him, obviously, because he got cheated on. And that's always, like, you always feel bad for, like, the person who was, like, cheated on, I think, in any scenario. So, yeah, so he
he kind of, like, takes it with a lot of resignation.
Yeah.
Like, there was no real option.
That's true.
Like, he didn't feel like he had the option to fight for it because he felt like it was already over. She decided it, so it's done. Which I can understand. If someone says they want something, you don't want to fight them on it. That's what they say they want.
And also, just like when someone cheats on you, it's hard to imagine like letting that go or getting over that. So it's almost like that's the end. Like, that's the door closed in your face kind of thing.
100%.
So he gets his own little apartment and he's very sad and emotional. He keeps going to this bar.
So this is where we're introduced to Emma Stone's character, Hannah, very briefly. And where we get our first glimpse of Jacob, who is played by Ryan Gosling, who looks so incredibly gorgeous in this movie. I'm not into buff guys, but I am into him in this movie.
This movie is just proof that, like, some tailored clothing and a little bit of confidence, a good haircut, get you anything you want in this life.
True.
If you're a man.
Yeah. We see Jacob hitting on Hannah. And Hannah blows him off.
And Hannah's like she's like in her 20s. She's a law student. She's very
got
focused.
Bigger fish
she's
to
got
fry.
A boyfriend, Josh Groban.
We don't have to talk about it.
Josh Grossbin. I do not like him.
Gross bin.
Yeah. Trash.
trash.
That's mean. But like,
no, he's not trash.
He's not trash. But we don't like his character in this anyway.
Also, when you compare him to Ryan Gosling,
Ooh.
it's like, girl.
But yeah, so she's got a boyfriend. She's focused on her life, and when Jacob hits on her, she kind of just blows him off. He's like really funny, but
yeah,
he's giving her like
pickup line,
cool guy, pickup guy. I mean, pickup guy, pickup line. Like she's just not interested. Mm-hmm. But he feels, you can tell he kind of looks when she's leaving like there's something about that girl.
But then she leaves. And we get a montage of Cal in the bar, just like trying to talk to people about his divorce because he doesn't really have friends. And like we get a scene where his friend comes in and says like, I can't be friends with you anymore because my wife says we have to pick a side and she's picking Emily. I picked you, but it doesn't matter. Choice. Yeah. So he doesn't really have anybody to talk to. So he's kind of just like saying this story out loud to anyone who will listen.
And he's just getting drunk and he's just like
saying the name David Lindhagen
like,
over
I'm
and
a
over.
Cuckold. You really don't hear about cuckolds anymore.
Cuckolded. So then finally,
after days of this,
Jacob, Ryan Gosling's character. I'm just gonna call him by the actors' names. Jacob is sick of it, and he just calls him over to where he's sitting, and Cal is like, this is weird, and Jacob offers to give him a little makeover. Give Cal a little makeover.
So he offers to basically help Cal, and he tells him, and he's like, why would you want to help me? And Jacob is like, let me just say that you remind me of someone. And you don't really know what that means, but you're just kind of like, okay, that's reasonable, I guess. Yeah. So he decides to take him up on the offer, and because Cal's kind of at rock bottom at this point, he really does need a friend, and he needs somebody to help him out.
Yeah.
So then we have this fun shopping scene where
we have a shopping montage
with guys though, which is
men.
kind of fun and different.
Yeah.
You get to see a little male shopping spree.
I know, and Jacob's just slapping him in the face the whole time.
He has these like grotesque New Balance sneakers. I literally just throws them away, throws them over the side of the mall. And he hooks him up. He gets him into like some nice stuff, some nice shoes,
a fitted suit.
Oh yeah, and he has a Velcro wallet.
Oh no, and it's where we get that like iconic like dirty look from Ryan Gosling.
Just like appalled.
Which I don't blame him.
God, a 40-something-year-old man with a freaking Velcro wallet. Listen, horrific. PSA, if you're in your 40s and you're a male.
If you're over 12.
And
you have a Velcro wallet.
Yeah.
Even his son, who is 13, should not have a Velcro wallet.
Yeah. No Velcro, buddies.
No.
You don't, what do you need it for?
That goes for wallet chains as well.
Oh.
No. It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Yeah, so, we see kind of Cal realizing that he hasn't really been taking the best care of himself and looking as good as he could. And, like, you have that makeover moment where you're like, damn. And it's real.
It's real.
Like,
because in the beginning, his hair's like kind of like a bowl cut
and
almost.
Like
side parted. He's wearing New Balances.
Yeah, and he's like kind of frumpy energy.
Yeah, he's just like, like wearing what dads usually
very
wear.
Reasonably like a guy who's just been focused on like working in kids and hasn't had a chance or had a thought to take care of himself or his vibe in a long time. Very Queer Eye moment, actually.
Yeah, he does get a little queer eye moment. Yeah,
where it's like he just realizes that like, oh, like a tailored pair of pants and a nice black shoe and spending a little bit of extra money on myself really makes a difference in how I feel about myself.
We just didn't get a Karamo moment because I don't think Jacob is emotionally ready to give anyone a Karamo moment.
Yeah, true.
So he gets his little makeover, and that's when Jacob decides he wants to start taking Cal out and
teaching him how to pick up girls.
Teaching him how to pick up women.
I will say this part is probably the most like
gross,
icky, just because it's very like
objectifying
and manipulative.
It's hard because the movie's so fun, but there are it's it calls it out later in the movie too.
It does. It shows that it's not good.
Yeah, but it's you kind of have to sit through like Jacob like kind of treating women as like the next thing to put his dick in, and like manipulating them to like get them to come home, and like don't accept no as an answer.
Yeah, and like the way that like the dominant energy being like what women respond to.
And like the whole narrative in the first half of the movie, like, you lost your manhood, we need to find how to make you a man again. It's just so uncomfortable, but like
there's a point to
it. Yeah, which I kind of love for like 2011. Yeah,
I feel like that was before its time in that way. So he starts to kind of like pay attention to what Jacob's doing and learns how to pick up women.
He Miyagi'd Cal.
I love how he said that.
You Miyagi'd me.
Miyagi'd me.
Because Cal realizes, without realizing, that he's been learning from Jacob without actually going through the motions. And Jacob's like, go ahead, go pick up a girl. And he's like, I can't pick up a girl. And he does.
He does.
And the girl he picks up is a teacher, and, you know, they have a nice night.
Well, the thing that's funny is, like, he tries to do all the things that Jacob says, but
it just backfires.
It backfires. But somehow it works anyway.
Yeah, because he ends up being more honest, and that's what turns her on.
So then they go home together. And
also played by Marissa Tomei.
Oh, Queen.
Underrated. Love Marissa.
Love her. But yeah, so they have a night together. And and earlier you found out that like he had only slept with Emily. So they got together in high school. So she was the only woman he's ever been with. And so this was kind of like the first time breaking out of that, because when he sleeps with her, and when he sleeps with Marissa Tomei's character, I can't think of her name. But she leaves in the morning, and he is a new man.
He's ready to take on the world.
But one thing I will say is, like, he's not happy the whole time.
No.
He's like...
No.
He's very much just, like, going through the motions. Like, he's kind of, like, into the fact that he can pull women, but he's not...
Like, it gives them a boost of confidence, but it doesn't... Confidence doesn't always mean you're happy.
And it doesn't fix the fact that he still loves and wants to be with Emily. So he's kind of just, like, filling a void, you know?
Yeah.
Trying to fill a void.
Trying to fill a void. So we find out along the lines through the storyline that Jessica is in love with Cal, who is their babysitter. She's in love with him, but Robbie's in love with her.
So it's like Robbie loves Jessica, Jessica loves Cal,
and Cal loves Emily,
his wife.
And Jessica's just kind of being unfair to Emily.
Yeah, because she feels like Cal's like the best guy ever. So she's like...
And it's just funny to watch the dynamics. Like I was saying during the movie, like Robbie has the same relationship to Jessica as Jessica has to Cal. Like, it's just like not really feasible at this moment in time.
It's a fantasy. It's not, it has no grounds in reality.
Yeah.
I feel like I really related to her because I always liked like the dads and like the older guys growing up. Yeah. So I really liked that because I was like, dude, I get it. It sucks.
It
sucks
happens.
To have a crush on a dad, and then you're just like, this will never happen.
Why? I mean, I know why, but why?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, like it would be real twisted if it did happen, but there's like some part of you that's like, wait, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Love knows no age, which is wrong. It's not true. That's very wrong.
But it shows like the naivety in Jessica and the naivety in Robbie, which is kind of cute.
Yeah. So we have Cal sleeping with women. It's getting around town that he's kind of sleeping with women. Jessica has blown off Robbie a few times. He has a little moment during school, like where he says the A in the scarlet letter stands for asshole. And he says asshole over and over and over again.
Like, people in love are assholes, and everyone's an asshole. Asshole, asshole, asshole. So and obviously he gets in trouble.
Okay. So Emily and Cal go to a parent-teacher conference, and they're sitting outside waiting for the teacher. And it's like they're starting to have this really nice moment where you can see they miss each other.
Yes.
And
he actually says, I miss you to her in that moment.
And I mean, he's not really being fully honest with her yet because she's like, what have you been doing? He's like, oh, nothing.
And there's been like rumors too. And like, Jessica's parents have heard rumors about, you know, Cal getting around and stuff like that. So it's kind of like going around the neighborhood that he's kind of in a slut phase, hoe phase.
And like you can just tell that Emily is just really feeling like she misses Cal. She doesn't say it quite yet. Yeah. But like she's feeling it.
She gives me air sign vibes.
Yeah, I see that.
Like Libra maybe.
Yeah. So as we're about to have like kind of a beautiful moment of communication, the door opens and Robbie's teacher, who they're meeting with, is Marissa Tomei, the first girl that Cal was able to pull. And she is just...
She's not happy. She definitely acts out in a very unprofessional way, I will say. Yeah. I mean, I know it's a funny part of a movie, but I was like, dang, you don't get yourself fired.
Yeah. So...
She basically calls him out.
Yeah, because Cal never called.
Yeah, Cal never called. So she basically calls him out, and he said... There was this like running line through the movie that he used to say to Emily, which was...
No...
she's the perfect combination of sexy and cute.
Yeah.
And they started to use it as a line, Jacob and Cal, even though it did actually hurt Cal, you could tell, to use that line.
Yeah. But Emily's like just starting to accept the fact that he slept with these women.
Yeah.
And Marissa Tomei calls out, "Why don't you tell her that you called me the perfect combination of sexy and cute, asshole?"
So this is when Emily is kind of like, you called her, you said that to her, like,
because that's so personal.
Because that was something that he specifically always said to her. And he then admits that he slept with 9 women in like, I mean, in a few months, and she's just like,
not thrilled.
What? Like, she's just so upset. I think she's hurt, and she says, yeah, I know I have no right to be hurt because like
I cheated on
you.
cheated,
but it's, you can tell that it still hurt. So that's kind of like the one of the like darker moments, because he feels like he lost Emily for real, I think, in that moment.
Yeah, 100%. And it's very sad because like you can see like it kind of changes her view on him a little bit, because she's known him since they were 15.
I can't imagine.
And so she's seen him grow up, seen him grow into the person he is. So to see him act in such a different way can really show how like one thing can change how you're gonna continue to live your life, you know?
Absolutely.
So after this,
meanwhile, it's actually at the same time. Yeah. At the same time that the parent teachers conference is happening, basically Hannah is at dinner with Josh Grossman, and we don't like him. Like, he's lame, and he's got
a bad haircut.
She's
a lawyer.
Yeah. She passed her bar exam, which was a big deal, and she thought that he was going to propose to her. Even though you're like, you're not even that in love, girl. But anyway, he says to her, do you want to be part of a partner in our firm? And she's super disappointed because she thought he was going to propose. So then he basically says, like, you thought we were there? Like, I need to take some space.
I need to think about this.
Which, she's way too good for him. So like, that's disgusting. Fuck him.
Josh Grossman, you're going to sit there and say you need to think about being in a relationship with Emma Stone?
Get over it.
No, we don't stand.
We don't stand. So then she's like, you know what? Fuck this. And she goes back to the bar where she initially met Jacob. And it's pouring rain, and she runs over to him, and she literally just makes out with him in that moment.
She says,
bold move.
You.
She goes, you.
Are you still into me? He says, yes. And she makes out with him in the middle of the bar and makes him take her home.
Yeah. She's like, take me home.
And he's just so intrigued by her.
Yeah. He's really, you can tell he's just like, who's this girl? Like, what's going on?
He's like really into the whole dynamic. And that's like been switched up.
And you can tell that this is no shade to any women ever, because I love all women. But it seems like a lot of the people that he's generally taking home, it's just very surface. It's not that they're surface. It's just that the interaction is surface. It's like, just a quick one night stand type situation, it seems.
Yeah, 100%. It never feels like it's going to be anything deeper than that. So they don't really give him,
or like anything like that.
So they don't really give him more than he needs, you know.
So they get to
his place, his beautiful
place,
house,
which is fancy. You can tell he has money anyways, just because of like his whole vibe. Like,
Yeah.
he's not a poor guy.
No.
But when you see his house, you're like, what the hell? Because it's like super fancy.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's just at this guy's house, and I liked it because I felt like it was like such a realistic kind of like
night.
What the hell? Like,
Yeah.
What am I doing? But also like,
I'm doing it.
I'm doing this. And
yeah.
So she's at the house and they're just kind of like, she's kind of talking herself into it. She's drinking a lot. She's trying to just be like, this is so unlike me, but I want to do this.
But this
thing.
is like what I feel like I need in this moment, because so much of my life has been so carefully constructed. So I need to do something that's daring and bold. And he's just like so thrown off by her. It's so cute.
I know.
It's so cute.
So one of the best scenes I have to say is she's like, so what would you do? Like, what would be like your big move to like get me into bed? And he's like, I'm not telling you my big move. And she's like, come on, tell me your big move. What is it? And he's like, you can't handle my big move. She's like, come on, yes I can. Tell me. He's like, Dirty Dancing. And she's like, you watch Dirty Dancing? And he's like, no, we do the move. You know, I do the lift. I can lift. So I do the lift. And then everybody sleeps with me. Basically.
Which, like, to be fair, would absolutely work on me.
First of all, yeah.
Would 100% work on me.
I literally said to Danielle, first of all, if a man could lift me over his head, that would be enough. But then to fucking have that music playing, thinking about Patrick Swayze, I can't.
Like, the bar is so low for me. The fact that he knows what Dirty Dancing is and enjoys the movie enough to know the move.
Good God.
Vibe.
Yeah, vibe. It's ridiculous.
Vibe is something that I'm really into.
Vibes. But yeah, so honestly, that moment is so hot. And so he does it, and then he does like the slow slide down, and they're like right up against each other. Oh, it's so hot. I can't wait till we do Dirty Dancing on this podcast.
We're going to. Look forward to it in the future, because I will be a mess.
Yes, God. So they do the thing, and then they go to bed. They go to the bedroom, and then, and she makes a comment like, I feel like, what am I gonna? I know what the PG-13 version of this night is. Like, I get super drunk, and then you like put a blanket on me, and we fall asleep.
And she's like, I don't want that. I want the rated R version.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is like they're just talking all night, and it's so funny and cute. I said to Danielle, like, this is better than a sex scene.
It is 100%.
They're just like intimate, talking,
they're
laughing,
giggling,
playing,
drinking.
One of his rules is like he never says anything personal about himself.
He always makes the girls talk about themselves.
Towards the end, he says, "Ask me something personal about myself,"
which is like so. He said, "Can you just do me one favor? Can you do me one kindness?" And she goes, "Sure." And he goes, "Can you ask me something personal about myself?" And it's just so like,
it hurts.
So sad too,
so
because
good.
it's like he's like repressed feeling, like thinking about himself whatsoever. And like that leads into him objectifying women and just like talking about them.
Yes.
But not listening either, you know?
Absolutely. And I feel like when he says, he says that, you know, his mom, she says like, tell me about your mom. And he says like, she was very beautiful, very vain. She was cold. But he basically, and then she's like, what about your dad? And he's like, my dad died when I was really young. But my dad was like a super, super sensitive guy, like too sensitive.
And then you realize like, you kind of realize in that moment, like he says he's too sweet, and you realize when he was talking to Cal and said, you remind me of someone, he was talking about his dad.
He reminded him of his dad.
And that's why he wanted to help him. And it's just so sweet and so sad, because it's like, he also like saw Cal as a father figure. He totally did.
He wanted to have that relationship that he had lost.
Yeah.
And it's, you see past the exterior of what Jacob gives to everyone and what he thinks is supposed to be like how a man behaves.
Yeah.
And when he actually accesses his emotional depth, he actually feels happy for the first time.
Yeah, 100%.
And so what's happening is that he falls asleep.
Jacob's the one who falls asleep, and he has the PG-13 moment where Hannah puts the blanket on him.
It just sleeps. Which, like...
They just sleep.
You know, it's a cliche, but it's just...
It works.
It's just like... The one... It's like when he decides to let down his walls and not objectify and not...
And let someone in.
It's like he's just a little baby in that moment.
He's a little baby.
It's so precious.
It's so precious.
I love it.
Yeah.
I literally love it.
I literally love it so much.
Literally, darling. So yeah. So shit gets a little wild at this point.
This is when things start to kind of merge because we have all these different storylines that are happening all at once.
And also Cal's like trying to get in touch with Jacob for like a couple weeks and like he's not answering at all. And Cal's just kind of like...
Because Cal's having a rough time. This is after his big blow up with Emily.
Yes.
And he's having a bit of a rough go. So he's trying to get in touch with someone to talk to. And, you know, Jacob's just not answering because he's going through his own thing. Sorry. Yes. This episode, we're recording it at my place and my dog is unhinged.
This episode is sponsored by Poe Brasina.
This episode is sponsored by Poe's chaotic energy.
Yeah,
so if
literally.
you hear any tingling or tapping in the background, that's Poe just unable to sit still. Or him having to
put his hands on my notebook right now.
He just really wants to be a part of the action.
You're part of it,
He's so cute. We all love him.
We love Poe.
Don't worry. We'll put pictures up of him.
Yeah.
Can't talk about him without showing him.
True. But yeah, so Cal's going through it.
Yeah.
And he decides that it's time to... He's talking to his son. They're playing catch. Oh. And his son is like, Robbie's like, I have a soulmate and I'm not going to give up on her and whatever.
And I need to fight for her.
And then he's like, yeah, don't give up on your soulmate. And then Robbie's like, well, you gave up on yours.
Oop.
And Cal realizes in that moment that like he's done the sleeping around thing. He's tried this whole new lifestyle.
Tried to move on.
He wants to be with Emily. Like that's what he really wants.
So he wants to fight for Emily, like really fight hard.
So there's like, I think their first date was like they used to go mini golfing or something.
Yeah, he said that he was so good at, I can't remember like the whole like thing, but it was a really cute moment. Like he's really good at mini golf. So she would take him out for ice cream to make up for the fact that she was bad at mini golf. Yes. So we have this whole setup where, Cal and his kids are building like a mini golf set so he can surprise his wife with it.
So he's basically at this point he's like trying to get her back,
making a grand gesture, which is
before he goes to, he's literally on his way to Emily's and to his like family home. He finally gets a call from Jacob and he's like, Jacob, where have you been, buddy? And he's like, Jacob's like, I'm kind of in a situation. And Cal's like, what do you mean? And he's like,
what's going on? How can you be in a situation?
I met a girl and it's different. It's like really different.
And Jacob's like, Cal's like, I'm sorry for her.
Yeah, he's kind of like, I don't believe it. But he's like, good for you, bud. I'm glad that you found someone, whatever. That's kind of it.
Yeah, because Jacob wants advice because he's meeting Hannah's mom tonight. So he's like, what do I do? Like, this is different. I don't know how to act. And Cal, like, after a lot of like ribbing and like poking fun at him, says like, just be yourself. You're going to do great. And it's like such a cute, like, father-son moment almost.
It is.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet.
So then we cut to a scene of Jessica at home with her family. And her mom is going through her things. Jessica was given some bad advice
from a fellow high school
teenage girl. In order to pull guys, she needs to take nude pictures of herself.
Yes.
Which she did. And she wrote Cal's name on the envelope.
And put the envelope in her drawer. I'm assuming she planned on giving it to him like maybe after graduation or something. Who knows?
Cal has no idea of any of this.
No,
he's so oblivious to all of it. So her mom is putting her clothes away and finds the pictures. And this is when Jessica's dad decides, because the mom shows the pictures to Jessica's dad, and he decides he's going to drive over there and beat Cal up, because all they know is that there's an envelope with Cal's name on it
and
nude pictures of their underage daughter.
God, why does she show her dad? Like,
it's
she could
mortifying.
just say, like, I found nude photos. The fact that she shows her dad, that is so embarrassing.
I get such secondhand embarrassment from that scene.
Same. And it sucks because, like, Jessica doesn't, she's also like, no, please don't go over there, because he doesn't know that I love him, and like,
but like they're not listening
but
to
they're
her.
Of course they're like, they think that they're like having an affair or something.
They think she's being taken advantage of.
But so meanwhile, Emily is blindfolded, and Cal is trying to do this whole thing.
It's really sweet. He built a mini golf course in their backyard.
A mini golf course. And
I think this is because he realized, like, she still has feelings for him. Emily, because he like sees her call him and like ask her to help her do something around the house that she's clearly not actually doing, and like that confirms to him, like, so there's still hope here.
Exactly.
So Emily's blindfolded in the backyard, and this scene
is
had me Allen. It had me howling.
So she says, well, we should wait for our daughter, and he's like, our daughter's here. And then she's like, no, Nana. And they had like said this name Nana like a couple times, and you're just kind of like, okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden, walking through the door is Hannah and Jacob.
And it is like one of the biggest twists I've seen in a rom-com.
I hope you've watched this movie already, because if you haven't, that was a major spoiler.
And Cal goes, what are you doing here? And Jacob goes, what are you doing here? And this goes back and forth for like a minute. And it's revealed that Hannah, who is boyfriend and girlfriend with Jacob, is Cal's daughter.
And they had her when they were 17.
Yeah,
so that's why she's so much older, and they're still pretty young.
Yeah.
And Jacob was like, you never said you had a daughter. And he's like, you told me never to talk about my kids. They have a really big like blow up basically, and Cal is like, absolutely not, stay away from my daughter.
He's like, I know this man, he objectifies women, it's disgusting, it's horrible, and I don't want that for you.
And then all of a sudden, coming through the door 1,000 miles a minute is Jessica's dad, who attacks Cal and is like, you son of a bitch, like, she's only 17. And then Jacob is trying to like save Cal, because he obviously like loves Cal, so he's pulling this guy off of him, and they're just like all fighting there for like a couple minutes. And then frickin' David Lindhagen comes in,
who is Kevin Bacon, by the way.
Kevin Bacon from the world famous film Foot Bacon.
See it in theaters now.
Foot Bacon,
'cause I got a foot bacon.
Ew. Okay, anyways. Kevin Bacon, aka David Lindhagen, comes into the space, and everyone's like, who are you? This? And then he's like, I'm David Lindhagen. And then Jacob's like, you're David Lindhagen, and he like takes off his ring. It's so hot. It's very hot.
So why is like male anger so hot to me?
I know, it's a problem for me. Anyways, he takes off his ring, and then he punches very hard in the face.
He said, do you know how much pain you've caused my friend Cal? And I'm like, oh, because he loves Cal so much.
So he punches David Lindhagen, and then everyone else attacks David Lindhagen, and then it's like all of them are literally in a brawl. Like, it is so funny. It's so funny and so unexpected, I feel.
Truly. Because, like, you're like, how are they going to wrap up all these storylines? This is how. They all just get into a fist fight.
It all comes out.
The whole movie is like, men have to be men. And, like, this is what happens when you just swallow things down and don't talk about yourself and don't do the inner work that you need to do.
That is absolutely true.
You end up in an all-out brawl.
So, basically, Jessica is like, like, I'm in love with him, but he doesn't know anything about it, Dad. Like,
and Robbie, his son, hears that and is like, you're in love with my dad, and like takes that personally, as if Cal is also in love with her, which he's not.
And Cal's like, what the hell? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So confused. Yeah. So Jessica and her dad leave. Oh, and the cops come too because like it was like a domestic dispute or whatever. And then basically Cal's kind of acting like a jerk, and he's like, you're not gonna date. He's still standing behind this, like, you're not gonna date my daughter. David Lindhagen's still there. It's like a very, very awkward moment. I do like when Hannah's like, Daddy, you can't, whatever, and then Jacob's like, please don't call him Daddy.
It's so funny.
But it basically results in Cal really looking like an asshole because
he doesn't want Jessica to date Jacob, even though, or not Jessica, Hannah. I'm telling you, I can't do names. Why do we have to have names?
So he doesn't want Hannah
dating Jacob.
And then he basically says, like, get out of my house. And then Emily's like, this isn't your house anymore.
Oops.
And then
he's like, you made sure of that.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Emily said that. Emily said, this isn't your house anymore. And then he says, you made sure of that.
And then
she goes, you can. And then he said, he's about to leave and he goes, you can have her, to David Lindhagen. And David goes, great.
Like, he doesn't want her now. It's all
Assholes.
very, like, mean.
I know.
Like, the next few scenes are just, like, Cal being alone and, like,
and sad.
realizing his son is upset with him and he doesn't have Jacob and he doesn't have Hannah because Hannah doesn't want to talk to him because he's being unreasonable.
He's definitely being a little self-pitying, kind of a jerk. Yeah. He admits that he's being a jerk. And then it's been, like, I would assume it's been, like, a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Jacob comes, and Cal's at the bar that he used to go to with Jacob, and Jacob comes into the bar and he's like basically asking him, you know, telling him his kids miss him and stuff. And Cal's like, you're hanging out with my kids? Like, he's upset. He's like,
I know how my family works.
And he says, like, he says to him, like, I know too much. Like, I know too much about you. Like, you'll never, like, Hannah is too good for you and you'll never get my approval. It's like a really sad moment.
Because all Jacob wants is Cal's approval.
And Jacob basically admits, like, I don't know what I was doing before. Like, I realized, like, I thought that you should be more like me, but I wanted to be
more like you. And it's so sad.
Oh.
So sad.
It's so sad.
So,
but I feel like it's such an important point that, like, the way that Jacob was behaving and like there are some aspects like what Jacob did for Cal that were important, like feeling confident and dressing nice and all these things can really help you. But like
Cal helped Jacob emotionally and Jacob helped Cal physically.
Yeah. But and not like, wait, what was I saying? I feel like those things, the confidence aspects are like important, but like the other aspects that Jake was trying to teach him to be like objectifying and manipulative, like it becomes very clear that those things aren't really doing anything for them. Like they're just ultimately creating more sadness. And even though Jacob appears to have everything, he's actually really sad and alone. And
it's so sad.
So I feel like it justifies like the behavior a little bit because it's
I understand it.
Kyle realizes he's being kind of a jerk. He still doesn't give Jacob approval at this point, and then it's his son's graduation, and
his 8th grade graduation.
His son gives a very depressing speech about how love isn't real and soulmates aren't real. And then Cal's kind of like, stop. And he kind of gets up in front of everyone and he's like,
so like embarrassing as well.
He's like, my son's speech sucks and I'm sorry. And he takes responsibility and he's like, it's my fault because like, I haven't been clear that like soulmates are real. And like, I've loved the same woman since I was 15 years old and she's the only person I've ever loved and I want to be with her still. And it's just this really sweet moment. It's like a public declaration of love, which we love to see.
It's a grand gesture. I love a grand gesture.
And then
Robbie, as he's saying that, is like, never mind, I still love you, Jessica. And like Jessica has like a sweet little moment where she's just giggling. So then the graduation ends and like you kind of see everything start to get resolved a little bit. It's when Cal talks to Jacob and he's like, you know, if you ever hurt her,
he says, I bought a firearm from a sketchy internet website
Yeah.
and I will shoot you in the face with it.
Oh, and it's like a really nice moment where he's like accepting him.
And they kind of have like a handshake and yeah,
a face slap.
You can see, oh yeah, and he keeps slapping him in the face, which is cute. And you can see that like he's like saying, okay, like I'll
step aside.
I'll step aside. Yeah.
Oh, Jessica goes up and talks to Robbie, and she's kind of like, I'm sorry about everything that happened. And Robbie's like, I'm still in love with you. And I think that works out for me because you like my dad. And in a few years, I'm going to look like my dad. So that works out for me.
It's like, true.
And she's like, that's good logic. So as a graduation present, she gives him the nude photo that she was going to give to Cal.
Which is like weird, but cute.
A little strange.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fly now.
Yeah. It definitely wouldn't fly now.
No.
But I understand the gesture.
I was going to say it's more the gesture behind the actual gift. Like, it's just a sweet moment with a tinge of weirdness.
Yeah, it's also her kind of like letting go of the Cal thing too.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a resolution to those both of those relationship issues.
Relationships.
Ma'am.
Yeah, I said it.
And then basically you have a lovely moment with Cal and Emily. Basically he just says that he loves her, and he says like he was like, what a great year this was, or something. He kind of makes a joke about that. And you can tell that they just want to be together.
They just want to be back together. They had their moment where they had the bump in the road, and like they just made their way back together because they're soulmates, and it's beautiful and it's lovely, and it's just really nice to see them come back together.
I think the forgiveness aspect of that too, where it's like they both made mistakes, they both did things maybe not in the most perfect way, but like they came back together anyways. It's nice. And like I like that the ending wasn't like this like huge like
grand momentous
ending.
Yeah,
it was just like people deciding to work things out, people deciding to compromise and forgive, and there's something really lovely about that.
There really is. It's such a good movie. It's so fun.
It's so funny.
And the jokes are so quick in this movie.
That's
like
true.
I could keep up, but like I couldn't like keep up with my laughter, It's just so funny. And like even if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and just look up the scene in their garden. Like I was literally crying with laughter. It was so funny.
Good.
Yeah.
So good. So Danielle.
Yeah.
How did Crazy Stupid Love fuck you up?
How did it fuck me up?
How did it fuck you up?
How did it fuck me up?
You.
Me.
You.
Well, I'll tell you, Catie.
Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. I can't wait to hear
You're
about
welcome.
it.
I'm going to tell you how this dang movie fucked me up.
All right, then.
But not in that accent. I think it's just because they've been together so long. And, like, I was saying towards the end of this movie, like, it's nice to see a rom-com about, like, lived-in love. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Let's coin that.
Lived in love. A new NBC sitcom. No, it's like because their love was so comfortable and easy, like it was easy to start taking advantage of that and not seeing that you still have to put work in even though it's been years and years. And we get so many rom-coms where it's like, oh, like this is how they get together. We don't get many rom-coms about like this is how they come back together,
So true.
And it just very much reminded me of my own parents' marriage because they've been together for so long since high school.
I thought of that and I wondered how it might make you feel.
And my parents were together since high school, and it was very much reminiscent of that. So it was really nice to see put on the screen because there's not a lot of like high school sweetheart movies anymore because it's like it's kind of unrealistic at this point. We all know we grow and change, but yeah.
Like I feel like if your parents had ever like split, like they would have come back together.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
They would have never stayed apart.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Death didn't even keep them apart. That's a dark joke.
They kept their vows.
Because my parents are dead.
Hey.
But yeah, it definitely reminded me of my parents' marriage. So it was really nice to see, because it feels very much like if that had happened with my parents, that's exactly how it would have played out. They would have spent some time apart, but ended up coming back together because they had a very beautiful love.
Yeah, I think it's like definitely possible that that relationship exists.
And it gives you hope for like overcoming obstacles within a marriage. You know?
Yeah, I
and
agree.
not just like immediately pulling the parachute because something horrific comes up, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like so many, like you said, so many romantic movies are literally about like 22-year-olds. Yeah, which is great. But like it's just nice to see like people going with children, people in midlife, like people kind of figuring out, like you're always evolving and like learning how to be a better version of yourself and making mistakes and learning how to love. So, and
it's so funny because even this rom-com couldn't not have two 22-year-olds get together. Not that they're 22, but like there's still a subplot of like a younger couple getting together. But yeah, that's how it fucked me up.
Love that.
Catherine, how did this movie fuck you up, babes?
I think the thing that fucks me up the most about this movie is, and I've already said it a little bit, but just like the fact that you can like really lose sight of yourself in not just in relationships, but in life. Like when you're just going through the motions and trying to get through the days and focusing on other people and focusing on like friends, or especially if you have kids and all that stuff, you just like stop thinking about like what makes you feel good and what, you know, whatever. And I feel like to see someone decide to take care of themselves and put themselves out there and change their like look and their, you know, just become, or even
just like take care of themselves in general.
I just really like that. And I feel like you rarely see it, especially with men. Like you see the makeover moment so much with girls. And I think it's like, I like that it happened, but that's not what made him happy. Like looking hotter didn't cure his issue. I think that's like an important aspect of that storyline. It's like he did still feel like shit, and what actually made him feel better was having the confidence to own his mistakes, like become like the quote unquote man or the person that he wanted to become for this person that he loved and for his family. And that's what really I feel like it was more about. So I really like that aspect. And I also just love a makeover scene. Like they always fuck me up. And Ryan, oh God.
Steve Carell.
Ryan and Steve together.
I know, this was rough for you.
Bitch, I fucking remember when the shit, like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, somebody say a prayer because
my life is about to be ruined. I'm not going to make it through.
Yeah.
Life is ruined.
I remember I went to go see this with my mom and my sister and my friend Jill Easton. Shout out.
Hey Jill.
Like during summer.
I think I've only seen it once or twice before we just watched it.
I went through a phase where I was watching it a lot like before bed because I love it was just like a good feel good.
It's a relatively long movie. It's like
long.
2 hours long.
It's long, but there's so many plots.
I was gonna say I feel like that happens with movies like this, and he's just not that into you where there's multiple plot lines. It's like, how do we wrap it all up?
Okay, so did they or didn't they?
Did they or didn't they?
They did.
They did.
They did and they didn't. Like they did, like Cal and Emily did, Jacob and Hannah did. But obviously Robbie and Jessica did not.
And obviously Jessica and Cal did
not, honey.
Thank goodness.
Thank God that wasn't the story. It would have been
or we would not be talking about it.
It would have been like movie. Way more indie and like weird.
God. It would have been a Woody Allen movie.
Yeah.
Topical humor for you.
But yeah, so that was the wonderful, crazy, stupid love.
It's crazy.
It's stupid.
And it's love.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that. I fucking hated that.
I fucking hated it. So yeah, thank you.
I hate that now.
Oh no, hate that now. Hee So thank you so much for listening. If you're listening, if you're not listening, then you shouldn't even be listening to what I'm saying right now. So thank you for listening.
Where did that go? Where are we? Hello?
Thank you for listening. We will have a new podcast out every single week.
Every week, baby.
If you have recommendations.
Yes, I was just going to say
I'm
that.
so sorry, babes.
Recommendations.
Yeah.
Let us know. Please please subscribe. I have heard that if you leave reviews, it's good for us. So
that would be
do
great.
That.
I'm sick of creating new Google accounts so I can leave reviews.
That's you.
It's me.
All right. So thank you so much, y'all. Have a beautiful week, and we will see you next time.
We'll talk to you next time, babes.
On
Will They?
Will They?